Hello, Oliver here. Today we're going to be talking about a mental math trick that involves when you're multiplying or dividing numbers by 5. So let's take a little bit of a pretest, right? Take a minute or so and see if you can do these calculations. Okay, so if I were to do this the very kind of basic way, right, or the most obvious way, I would say, okay, right, 32 times 5, right, it's going to give me 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1, 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Great, I've got that. Now, 675 divided by, I can't talk and write at the same time, all right? So let me write that again. So 675 divided by 5, right? It's going to be 1, 5, right? 17, 3, this is 15, 25, and 5. Okay, 135. Great. But you'll notice that this, these weren't super hard problems to do. And, with being able to write them down made them fairly simple. But imagine you had to do these in your head, right? Imagine trying to do these in your head. It'd be a little bit more difficult. Like this division, right? This division has several steps. It would be hard to keep track of all of that in your head. And the multiplication, probably the same thing. So I'm going to show you one basic concept that makes these equations much simpler to calculate. And the secret behind all of this is that 5 equals 10 divided by 2, or 10 over 2, right? And so basically what we're going to be doing is, instead of multiplying or dividing by 5, which can be a tricky number to do the math, we are going to do 2 steps, one of which is going to be, let's say, multiplying by 10 and then dividing by 2, or vice versa, multiplying by 2 and dividing by 10. And so because why do we do this? This is because multiplying and dividing by 10 and multiplying and dividing by 2 are relatively simple things to do in your head, right? If you have, any sort of mental math skills, this is probably one of those skills, right? So for example, let's take a look at the examples that we did before and try to do these in our head. So if I have 32 times 10 over 2, right? Well, 32 divided by 2 is 16. And then I just multiply it by 10. I add on a 0, right? 160. So that, I don't have to write anything down for that. And the same thing happens for 675, right? Divided by 10 over 2. The only thing I have to remember and maybe do in my head is convert this to 675 times 2 over 10, right? When you're dividing by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal, right? And so in this case, right, again, I'm going to start with 2. I'm not going to divide first because 675 divided by 10 is going to give me a decimal. I don't want that. I don't want to make things more complicated for me than they need to be. But 675, right, multiplied by 2, while not everyone may be able to do this in your head, I know that 75 times 2 is 150, right? So my last 2 numbers are going to be 50, and the 1 gets carried over here. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 1,300. So 675 times 2 is 1,350. Divide it by 10, I just knock off a 0, right? So in the first case, I was able to completely do it in my head. And in the second case, maybe I could do it in my head, but at the very worst case scenario, I really only had to write down 1 step instead of several steps that I did when I was doing the long division. So if you practice these, this technique, right, you can get very good at it very quickly. If you are interested in taking the GMAT, I encourage you to check out my website, www.gmatmaestro.com. There's information about me, my background, my classes, and of course, a link to get schedule a free consultation with me. All right, have a great day.